I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on Metal Rules, we are speaking with Donnie Van Stavern of the band Riot V to talk about the band's upcoming release, Mean Streets, due out on April 12th. Donnie, welcome. It's a pleasure to speak with you today.
Thanks for having me on Metal Rules.
So tell me about the importance of releasing new music and albums, what it means to you, because I know the fans truly appreciate it.
Well, the career has been, it's going to be 50 years next year,
Wow.
the legacy of Riot. But it's just been, I was a fan before I joined the band, in the late 84, started working with Mark, but just one of those bands that consistently released good music, and different, different members, a lot of different members, a lot of different styles. But for me to be able to carry the legacy, uh, of Mark, when he passed away in 2012, it's an honor, and Mark used to say the longevity of a band is through good music. So if you keep releasing good music, people are going to stick around and they're going to dig it and stuff. So, uh, we always take pride when we're writing and what we're gonna, give to the people. And this one, it took us a little while because of the lockdown. We had the COVID lockdown, and we were switching labels at the time, and we went through, three producers to finally get, the sound we wanted and stuff like that. So it took a while. So we really wanted to deliver something, that people would like. So we actually wrote like 20 songs, and we always pick the best dozen. And, that's the ones we run with. And on this record, too, on Mean Streets, we kind of like, we talked about it. And I told the guys, I said, let's go back to not only just the power metal, but let's go back to some of our roots. So, and they agreed. Riot started off as a hard rock band,
Yes.
and then it went to heavy rock. And then all of a sudden, when we joined it, it was power metal and stuff like that. So, if when you listen to it, I'm sure you listen to a couple of tracks, there's
Oh,
the fast ones, and then there's a bunch of rockers. So, we wanted to do that, to do a little bit of variety. Even with the videos, we wanted to make them a little more modern and just, instead of that other shtick. So hopefully people will dig this.
yeah, we were talking before we started recording that Bruno Ravel from Danger Danger finished
Mhm.
off, I guess, the production work for the album.
We had the first guy, Chris, who produced our last record, Armor of Light. Armor of Light was a heavy hitter. It was a lot of power metal, and his production was power metalish. And a lot of people, were going like, it's great songs, but they thought the production was a little too finesse, too sampled sounding, tight, and we liked it, it's what a lot of people are doing now, but Riot is known for like a live mix, like, it's like a heavy mix. And even though, Riot is one of those hard rocking bands, we always want more of a commercialist kind of mix, and so the label didn't really like it. So, he went by the wayside, and with the money. And so we got a second producer. These were a couple cats that Nick knew, the young guitarist we got, and they started mixing it, and it was a little not what we wanted either. So the label said, is there any way you can get Bruno Ravel back? And
Wow.
I said, well, I would love to, because we talked to Bruno, but he was busy. He produces, a lot of projects he's doing, like we were talking about. And but he has history, with Riot. He played with Mark Reale and
Oh,
Tony Harnell from TNT and Westworld,
right, yeah.
besides the Defiant stuff he's doing now. But anyway, he's a great producer. He hears, what can make a song even better. And so they said, please get him. We love Immortal Soul, the record we did when we got the Thunder Still lineup back together. He produced it, and it just sounded great. So finally, talking to Bruno back and forth, he found some time to do it, and he said, I got to do this quicker than usual. But I was like, fine with it. And then when he put his magic touch to it, we were very happy. He sent us some demos. Here's what it's sounding like. And right off the bat, it just sounded great. He knows how to take a hard rock slash metal band like us and make us sound big and full. And he has great ideas. He's like working like part of the band.
Yeah.
Like, Donnie, I think we should thicken up the vocals here. We should add an extra chorus. I mean, he's like that kind of guy. And so, we're glad to have him back, and we think it sounds great.
He's got a great sense of melody too.
Oh man, oh yeah, he does.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got the one thing about Riot too. They've always had an edge in hard music, but they've always had that melody, the choruses and all that. Mark used to do that. Like when I first joined, when I was writing stuff for Thunder, still when Riot switched gears and we started becoming a little more power metal, I would do like the heavy riffs, like on Flight of the Warrior and Johnny's Back and all that. I'd write that. And then Mark would go, even though that's just, you got to have your, shining into the night, you always got to have those where people sing along or chants or something like that. So he was real good with that. And Bruno does that. He sees our vision, and he adds stuff to the music. So he's like the sixth, member of the band when he's doing production with us. He's a great guy.
With having three producers, did you have to record it three different times, or did you have
No.
to take the recording and then pass it from person to person, producer to producer?
Well, that would explain 6 years from the last record, but no, unfortunately, no. What happened was, no, we had all the tracks recorded already. The only thing we did redo is we were having the drums. When Frankie first recorded the drums, they weren't recorded 100%ly, so they were putting a lot of samples. So we said, look, we need that, that big drum sound. So we did on the second try, when the second producers were doing it, they had the studio where Frankie recut the drums. So by the time it got to Bruno, he got all the current files, and so he took it. So we didn't record everything over.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about that, Riot's having that innate sense of melody and merging power rock and power metal, and metal. The first two songs, Hail to the Warriors, Feel the Fire, start off with some kick-ass rhythm track, tremendous stuff. I mean, it's really good. Does the songwriting process usually begin with a great riff?
It's when I wrote those two. So basically what happens is, I get ideas not just sitting down with a guitar. I mean, I'll be driving around, in traffic, and I'll start going, oh, that sounds great, and I'll get my phone out and memo it, and then go home and then pick up the guitar. So the inspiration comes, from, different places. But going into this, like I said, I kind of wanted to approach it where we would touch on some of the kind of simpler hard rock Riot and stuff. Yeah. So, but then I'll write my trademark stuff like Hell to the Warriors, because, Riot's fans, we call them warriors and, that kind of stuff. And so I always try to do the crowd chant, the people out in the audience, singing along and chant. So I'll do the Hell, stuff like that. And so, when I wrote that one, I just kind of had that in mind with the whole warrior vibe, lyrics and all that. I write my lyrics to that one. And then Feel the Fire, I said, let's write something simple, like an old Judas Priest, Led Zeppelin lick. Yep. And with, some really cool vocals with this big chorus. And it used to just start with the guitar. And then that's another thing, me and Bruno said, what if we started with a big Feel the Fire chorus? Feel the fire. I said, oh, he does little things like that mean a lot. Yeah. So Feel the Fire, I wrote about, passionate love obsession between two people. Right. And I made it simple, and then I made the Led Zeppelin part towards the end. So when I did that, I said, okay, well, there's two good examples. There's a power metal song. It goes right into a rockish song, stuff like that. And then when they made the Feel the Fire video, of course, they wanted to go old school. The producer, Tom Flynn, he's in Jersey too. I don't know. We filmed Feel the Fire in Tinton Falls. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, that's very close to me.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we filmed it in Tinton Falls in this big production thing. He does Buck Cherry, Lamb of God. He's done a lot of bands. So anyway, we went up there and they had the sound stage with all the fire and all the crazy light. And he said, I know Miss Pennsylvania. Let's get her in there. And we're like, well, are we going to look weird? We're a bunch of like old heavy metal guys with this chick. He goes, it's kind of like Cherry Pie, but like, revisit. Yeah. It's like, okay. So anyway, that's how we ended up doing that and stuff. So, but everybody comes up with their own ideas. Mike has his ideas, and me and Mike are the main songwriters. He tends to write a little more from his era with Mike DeMeo, with a little bit more rainbow White Snakish Ingve kind of guitar dominant stuff, and I write like my power metal and hard rock. And what we do is we demo stuff. When I send my stuff to the guys, I put everything on it. It's completed. I put program drums, I lay bass, I'm a guitar player, but both guitars, dual leads, I do everything. Not a great singer, so I'll just kind of hum the lyrics to Todd. But when I give it to them, they put their own magic to it. Like Mike plays the smoking leads with Nick, and Todd has the incredible voice, and Frankie does, not the drum machine, but real dynamic drums and stuff like that. So we all basically do that. We send our ideas to everybody, and then we tell what we like or what we don't like about it. We've been recording in our own studios. Back in the day, we'd be together.
Right.
Now Mike's got a studio. I'm in my studio. Todd's got one. So we basically record and send the files. But we do a Zoom like this where we'll talk like, hey, the riff goes like this, or let's do that. So that's how we do it nowadays.
Are you very spontaneous for like the release? Hey, we're going to work on a new album, and you start with fresh new material, or are you stockpiling riffs to listen back to later on and say, hey, I got an idea for this?
Well, like I was saying earlier, we tend to record more than we actually put on a record.
Yeah.
If not 20 songs, we do like 15. And sometimes we do bring back a song. Like on the last record, we had a song called San Antonio, which was partially written by Mark. We had that in, a stockpile of stuff when Mark was still, and we still have stuff with Mark included. We're talking about putting them on the next release. And so we have stuff back there, but when we go into writing this, we come up with new, fresh ideas, mostly I never had that. I think we had one song, Lean Into It. It's towards the end, very commercial song, like an old Marianne from Privilege of Power. Todd had the idea and the lyrics and the melody, so I wrote music to it. But other than that, everything was written fresh. Within that 6 year, absence because of the lockdown and the whole 9 yards, we took our time. We switched record labels, 3 producers. So it was,
I get it.
It was eaten up real quick.
What I love about the album is that there's, if you have a tremendous legacy with Riot, and there's some familiarity to it, and there's some unfamiliar elements, but it's easy to listen to, and it sounds like it's very comfortable album to enjoy and listen to. It's very heartfelt. Tell me about striking the balance of delivering a consistency to what Riot fans want, yet having the opportunity to experiment a little bit out of the box.
Well, like I said, on this one, we did want to experiment a little bit. It's got the elements of what we've been doing. Mike has that same style, and so do I. But because of the long career of the band, they've been through, Rock City and Narita were, heavy rock records, and then they got a little bit more, hard metal rock on Fire Down Under, and they had a change. And then they went to Rhett Forrester, who was a bluesy singer. So, and he had great music on Restless Breed and Born in America. And then, people were kind of freaking out. And then we switched gears, like now Mark, because Priest and Maiden were the bands at the time. So let's do a Fire Down Under on steroids, and we made Thunder Still, and so we've always evolved musically, but I think each era has one. Rhett's great, Guy's great, Mike DeMeo, Tony Moore, and then this one. So, moving forward and stuff like that, we always think of, the fans too. I kind of write towards the fans and what they would like, being an old Riot friend from back in the day. So when I do this, I do want to, kind of go back and go, okay, should I write a song like this? Should I go back and write a song like Overdrive? Okay, let me do it like an Overdrive. Let me do like a road racing, you know what I mean? But you add your own new ideas, stuff like that. You just want the familiarity to like the fans. And so this one, it's kind of like a lot of the people like it already. We've released 2 pre-singles, To Feel the Fire and High Noon, and they're like, a lot of people are digging it. So that's cool. There's been a couple of people go, Feel the Fire, that's totally different. It's for Riot. You got this chick walking around and straightforward. And it's like, we just want to try to cross, we don't, the last one was real heavy. We want to kind of entertain everybody and maybe get some newer fans, even though we're an old band, with not just the real aggressive stuff, more musical stuff. So
right. The song that's rattling around in my brain all the time is Mortal Eyes. What a great sense of melody, riff, musicality. Tell me a little bit how that song started. That's my favorite so far.
Thank you. Thank you. I wrote that one about um, a movie my mom loved. It was called Somewhere in Time
Oh yeah, I know that.
with
Yeah,
Christopher Reeve and Jane
yeah,
Seymour. That's
yeah.
what the lyrics are about. If you look at the lyrics,
Oh wow.
it was my mom's favorite song. She passed away a couple of years before this Christmas, God rest her soul. So I was able to go back to the record label and say, you got to put dedicated to DVS's mom. So they did it. So that made me happy because
Right.
that's why I wrote it. But anyway, that one, uh, I wrote that one like an aggressive kind of road racing where, it was a heavy bass line beginning,
Hmm.
and then the guitars come in and copy the bass line, stuff like that, and then then I wrote the lyrics about up from the ashes, she rises from a dream. It's because the whole in the movie, when he sees the portrait of her, he does that whole thing and he goes back in time.
Yeah.
And then the last line is looking down the coin was 1979 back to reality from somewhere in time. That's from the movie. So I wrote it like that.
I'm gonna go
And the
back.
melody, I had a little bit of a melody, and then Todd came up with his, sweetness, and that's what made the song. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, the chorus is what sticks with me. Can you hear me?
No, what was that?
I said the chorus is what sticks with me.
Mm,
The chorus I love.
yeah.
That was the hook for me.
Yeah, that chorus, I had all that stuff, and then Todd will he'll add to it and stuff. I write most of my lyrics to my songs. Mike's not really a lyricist, so Todd writes most of the music, I mean the lyrics for Mike and stuff like that. But that one, I just had that do or die,
Yeah.
the silent cries, mortalize. And it was a play on words where mortalize, it's not mortalize, it's mortal eyes.
Yeah.
So I just thought him seeing the Jane Seymour, remember the whole mortal eyes, he fell in love with the photo, went back. And so that's the whole concept I did for that one. So
You've
it's kind
touched
of
upon
cool.
this in what we've been talking about. What inspired you when you first started writing music, playing, and what inspires you now musically?
Well, I had a musical upbringing. My father, he turned me on to, Deep Purple.
Hmm.
He was in the Doobie Brothers, Black Sabbath, and stuff like that. And then so I started digging that when I was young, and then I got into my Kiss phase.
Me too.
But I also, then I got into Thin Lizzy, and then as I started getting a little bit heavier, then you get into the Judas Priest and the Iron Maiden, stuff like that, the new wave of British heavy metal. And of course, I loved Riot and some bands of their era
Right.
that were coming out, Triumph and Young Rush, and stuff like that. So back then, I was a little bit more looser when I would write stuff. One of my early bands was the Texas Slayer before the LA came out. I had two records, so we were real heavy. And so uh, my writing changed a little bit when I met Mark. He, like I was saying, he said, no matter how fast and heavy or busy a song is, you got to have that melody, all over the song. So when I joined Riot with him, we sat down and we wrote a lot of great stuff,
Yeah.
and I even wrote a few songs, co-wrote with him, Born in America, before I was even in the band. But he always taught me about that. So I take that now, and I still channel Mark when I'm doing stuff. Think about what Mark would say. He'd be sitting on the fucking couch right there and go, "Dude, no, do that, do that." So I'm going, look, okay. So I'm trying to like do that. So I was a little bit more, reckless back in the day, and then after touring with Riot and joining the band, Mark kind of got me together to make a song that's dynamic at all the levels. He even wanted guitar solo sing along. He says all these elements have to be a song within the song. You write the song, but the vocals have to be their own song. The lead solos you have to sing, they have to be their own songs. So, I take that, and I'm a little more mature in my writing now. So I've written a million songs. So now that's kind of how I take it. Like, I'm a little more, intact. I write with a melody in mind, and what the fans are going to like and stuff like that. So, but it just comes second nature for me now. I've been doing it so long.
Yeah. And that's great. I do the same, apply the same mentality to photography. I do a lot of photography, concert photography primarily. And
Oh,
you start
cool.
here and the pictures are blurry. And then somebody tells you this,
Yeah.
and then they get better. And 15 years later, you don't miss a shot and they all look fantastic with great lighting. So
Right.
great mentors that help educate you and lead you, and that's really important.
Exactly.
So you make yourself better.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It goes like that, from the very beginning, I mean,
Sure.
to hit and miss. And when you start getting, it starts coming together. And I think, that's where I'm at right now. So it's pretty easy for me right now to write music, especially for Riot. That style is really cool.
The band lineup, it seems very stable now. Took a little while to get there. I guess it's stable. How does it feel now for you?
It's a record. Me and Mike Flyntz always talk about it. We say, do you realize that we've recorded 3 records with the same lineup? Mark, we did it, Mark.
It's like
Anyway,
10 years, right? 10, 11,
yeah,
maybe 12?
yeah. And on the record too, it was great. We just had a chemistry, after, Mark did pass away. I decided to, Mike, he was a little hesitant to continue. And I said, well, I said, let me just do some demos. So I ended up writing some songs, and we moved forward. Tony couldn't play anymore. And Bobby Jarzambek was with Halford and Fates Warning and Sebastian Bach. So we ended up getting Frankie. But, everybody that we got, we felt comfortable with, and they saw the vision. When I found Todd through a mutual friend, I was like, this is the guy. He's got the voice, because if I want to continue on my era, the 5th chapter, the right 5th chapter 5 thing, I need the higher voice that I had on Thunderstill, and who could maybe emulate Guy Speranza too. So anyway, so we got Todd, and then Frankie had recorded on one Riot record towards the end, and he's a great drummer, and having to fill Bobby Jarzambek's shoes, not an easy task, but Frank does a great job. He's awesome. And then little Nick, even though he's a young guy, he was one of Mike's students at Mike's guitar school in Amityville. And he plays, he's young, but he has that mentality of Marshall Stack, Les Paul, that real clean, good, heavy Riot sound, so everybody together, it's just kind of like, when we send the demos and we hear it, we're like, it just sounds great. Everybody puts their magic. Like when I was telling you, I send them demos. That's just me playing. But Mike does his expertise. Frank does his, and so as a unit, it comes together. So that's why I think we're still together. We're like brothers. We all live in different places, but we argue sometimes, even with songs and shows. But it's just like what brothers do. We
You
argue,
need
but we
that.
still love one another. You
Yeah.
got to have that. Everybody has a different opinion. There's 5 chiefs in the tribe, so we got to try to at least come to a thing. But me and Mikey have been together the longest. He's been in Riot a long time as myself. So we kind of we still stick to that kind of thing. But we've got a kick out of going, this is cool. We've been this lineup has 3 records, and we've been touring and stuff, because ever since Rock City, the very first record in '77, the very next record, different people, a couple different people, and the next record, different rhythm section. And then, then they went to Thunderstill, then they went to Mike DeMeo era, and they added another singer, different drummer. It's just like, there's been a lot of people in the Riot camp, but we're real comfortable with this one. We think we got a good lineup. We play good live. The records come out good. We emulate the records live. When I look at a YouTube video, sometimes you look at bands and you'll be like, oh, that doesn't sound good, or the singer's not that good. But when I write, I'm proud. I mean, Todd Michael Hall sounds like the record. It's a singer singing high, but he's always great. So we're lucky to have that. And so hopefully, if we're alive in a few more years, I turned 61 a few days ago. I'm like,
Oh, wow, you look great. I would have never thought. I thought you were younger than me. I'm 59.
no, man.
You look
Oh,
great.
are you? Yeah, I was born in '63, and yeah, I turned it. And I was like, man, I can't believe I'm still doing right. I'm like, Mark, what the hell? You have a curse on me? So anyway,
Well, Donnie, it was a pleasure to speak with you today, and I really wish you the
hey,
best of luck with the album. I think it's tremendous, and hopefully I'll see you when you come to New Jersey to play, and I'll come and take some pictures and do a review.
yeah, you're saying take pictures tonight. You got to take pictures
I will.
and drink tequila with me.
All right.
you're like,
beer.
all right.
Oh yeah. Like,
You do a shot. You do a shot of beer.
I love beer. I will drink beer, and find something else.
Yeah.
Tequila. I had a bad experience when I was a kid, and that's, boy, you smell it, you're just like, whoa.
Most people do. Most people look at me and go, how do you drink that? I said, well, Riot's the tequila band. Swords of Tequila, but we have a bunch of stuff with tequila. How do you drink? I said, see how I look? That's my vaccine. Jose Cuervo, come on.
That's what got me
Anyway,
sick. The Patron I could do. I could do one or two of
the
Patron.
cheaper stuff.
The cheaper stuff is what, yeah, the Pepe Lopez or the whole, it's like,
I know. People wonder how I drink that. I'm like, it's on our hospitality writer backstage. I'm just used to it. At 61, you got to keep to something that your system is good with, So,
good.
and it's fun.
Well, definitely, we'll do some beers, and I'll do some shots with you guys. We'll figure it out. Okay.
Okay, man. Thank
All
you,
right. Thank you
Robert.
so much for your time, Donnie. Have a great day.